What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pondcast. My name's Justin Skaggs, and this is being brought to you by Webs Online. I am very excited to say that we have an expert from Anjon on the line, and we are going to talk to him about a tech tip that I've never heard anywhere that can increase the longevity of your pump. So let's jump into it. All right, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Vinny McKenzie from Anjon Ponds for joining us today. And what I really want our listeners to get out of this is there are some ways for you guys to save money by treating your equipment just a little bit better. So Vinny, why don't you tell us, real quick or long-winded, whichever you want. I mean, the stage is yours. What are some things we could do to get a better lifespan out of this equipment that we have here? Because I feel like a lot of people are overly harsh on it, and you could definitely get this to go way past your warranty date.
It's very important if you want to have a good lifespan out of your pump and you want to run it for a few years past the warranty date. Then there are a couple things that are real crucial to do, a couple of really important steps before just pulling your pump and just storing it in your garage or in your basement or wherever that may be. And so those steps, number one, of course, is going to be to pull the pump out of the skimmer. And then the next thing that Anjon Savio recommends that you do is take some of our Anjon pump cleaner. It's very similar to CLR, a calcium lime and rust remover solution. What you will do is you will take the faceplate off the pump, remove the impeller if you have that ability, if it's an asynchronous pump. Just so you get it all opened up, and then you will put that in a bucket. We recommend 1 part pump cleaner to 4 parts water. Let that sit for 24 hours. Pull the pump and pull the pieces out. Get a rag, wipe it down to remove any buildup that may be inside of the housing or on the impeller. Put it back together, and then store it in a bucket of water in a warm place.
Oh, that's really interesting. So is there any particular type of water? Do we need to do distilled water or anything like that?
Yeah, tap water is just fine. After 24, 48 hours, most of those minerals are going to dissipate out of the water, and you're going to end up with distilled water anyway. So you won't have to worry about buildup from those minerals in the water.
Oh, that's really interesting. I totally would have thought you would have ended up getting a mineral buildup or something.
There's really not a period when you need to worry about pulling it out and putting it back into the pond. It's good. It's inside of that bucket of water. You could, in theory, store it indefinitely until you were ready to put it back into your pond.
So this is really interesting. And it's interesting for a couple reasons. So, I've owned a pond for a while. And obviously I work with pond people. I've never heard of anyone doing this. I've never heard of anyone taking the time to do this, and especially doing it in this format, and going and reassembling their pond pump at the end of winter, taking everything out of buckets. I've cleaned my pond pump, but I've never stored it in this way. This has to be it's just an odd thing that this isn't widely spread pond information.
It's a little bit of a well-kept secret in the pond industry as far as how to pull your pump and the good ways to extend the pump life on it.
Well, of course, that's why we have experts on here, because this kind of information is really valuable. If you can extend the lifetime and warranty of this product, then, you're saving you and your family money in the future. So here's another thing, you're already in the pond, you're already taking this pump out. This might as well be the time you do a bunch of winterization. You might as well get the sludge out. You might as well go ahead and do your pond netting. This should just probably be part of the overall winterization. And again, if we're just talking about pumps, this will save your pump in the spring, because you won't have all this buildup, you won't have all this muck, you won't have all this goo, you won't have all this stuff affecting your pond moving forward. So, my suggestion is, if anyone out there is going to employ this, you might as well employ this as part of your basic winterization.
So there is a couple of important things that I always like to try to educate customers on, and that's removing any debris that you have inside of the pond, as far as leaves that may have fallen in, any dead plants, any sticks, things like that. You definitely don't want that decaying
Absolutely.
inside of your pond over the
Absolutely.
winter, because that's just going to harm your water quality. If you have fish, it's going to put things in the water that don't make them happy, and it's also going to cause you a little bit more maintenance and a little bit more cleanup in the spring whenever you kick everything back on. So I would recommend getting a long handled net, just so you can get down to the bottom and scoop out all the leaves and everything that may be in there. And then after that, I would recommend putting a pond net. Anjon does carry pond nets in multiple sizes. I would put a pond net over the feature just to prevent any additional debris falling into the pond, because as some of you may know, depending upon what type of tree you have, this one may start losing its leaves in October, this one first week in November. So that way, if you're doing this, maybe let's say the last week of October, but you still have a decent amount of leaves waiting to fall, putting that net over it, that'll prevent from additional debris falling into the pond and then decaying.
All right, Vinny. Well, I mean, this was great information. We got a brand new tech tip I don't think anyone's heard, and just some general maintenance advice. So let's try to have you back on if you don't mind.
I love doing stuff like this.
Excellent. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find us on Anjon Manufacturing and Savio Engineering on both of our websites. That'll be www.anjonmfg.com and www.savioeng.com. And you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We are under Anjon Manufacturing and Savio Engineering on all the social media platforms.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day, and thank you again for your time.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Well, there you have it, guys. I know I've never heard of that, and I definitely clean my pond pump, but I do not actually store it in the way that they said. And if it's coming from that guy, you know it's good advice. As always, if you have any questions about anything you heard on the podcast, feel free to give us a call. You can find our number right at websonline.com. Till next time, take care and enjoy your pond.